Hello everyone, this is Koji from Celestial Rhythms. April the 3rd, 2021, or as someone said, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, it seems today is a great day to set a momentum, and it's kind of that countdown energy into this month 12 of 13, April 2021. Those of you who follow my podcast know that the 9 said it would be a 13-month event of removing the deep state, started seriously in May 2020. We are in month 12 of 13, May 2021. Likely, and it seems to be really working out very nicely, will be the month of final clarity. We are still edging closer to that. In increments, things are brought into the collective consciousness. The 12th card, it seems very matching the Hanged Man. Everything is put upside down. We have to look at the world from a totally new angle. It's a time of letting things sink in, meditate, just absorb and realize this is a test, this is a critical phase of readjustment to a new reality. That's what we are just seriously getting into. I have said I would make a video on the Suez event. I then declined doing that. I thought it was not really the right thing to do because there was no clarity, although astrology showed a very clear picture. And it is interesting that just a couple hours ago, Simon Parkes published this on his site. With great regret, I must announce that children were being transported in cargo containers. The operation in the Suez Canal was a success. You can find that simonparkes.org. Those of you who are not familiar with Simon, he has sources, direct sources, who tell him things. He's very much involved in the hierarchy. He gets information to be disseminated. So that is definitely the first clear proof that something of big magnitude was taking place without the public really being informed about it, which is no surprise, as this is a war that we are in the middle of, the final operation. So we have to understand that astrology can show things which obviously at first seem not to pan out, but in retrospect we will see it has been the case. So this is the chart I was hinting at in my the last video I did about the Blue Western Castle, those 52 days of transformation we are right in now. We started on March 29th. This is the phase where we get to the meat, to the potatoes and the meat, if you want, where really the energies are clashing, interacting with each other. It's the western direction. West in the medicine wheel is the direction of interaction. We are totally ready, and April 8th, that's when the shadow, the black moon, the collective shadow by transit moves into hexagram 23. This is the collective energy chart. This is the heliocentric chart for Washington, D.C., and you see there is this powerful Mars-Pluto opposition squaring T-squaring Aries and Venus. I talked about that in my other video. But what I wanted to add on here, this is the United States natal Mercury. what would that tell us? You see, this is 2411, the Mercury, so the heliocentric chart here totally highlights this degree. This is a kind of an aggressive energy we see here, and it's T squared by Aries and Venus. Aries, the attempt to bring clarity despite temporary discord. So this is a clear sign that we're just about at that point where big information is thrown into the public, where really the world will turn upside down. Just quickly want to zoom through these charts as we're on the way, and I'm heading towards this chart here. This is April 23rd. That is the first in 3 conjunction transit Jupiter makes with the American nation's lunar position at 27/12/48 Aquarius. Here, if we just zoom back quickly, that is the American nation's moon, 27/12, according to this chart, which was rectified by nonetheless then Dane Rudyard, in my opinion, the greatest astrologer of the 20th century. So this chart really works, and so we can see this is where Jupiter will be the first time of 3 times in these next few months. The second time will be in August, and the third in December. We're getting to those charts too. Just bear with me. So first of all, what does Jupiter conjunct the moon mean? The moon, particularly in a nation's chart, is the people. It's the collective energy, which is kind of that interconnectedness of all the souls, generating a certain frequency and emotional energy, very emotional, because emotions is really what stirs the boat, which triggers events and actions. The moon is incredibly powerful, particularly in a nation's chart. Jupiter activating it, and that is actually just getting started now. As we speak of today, Jupiter is at 23 degrees and 48 minutes, so it's just a few degrees away. So this is zooming in on that position. Jupiter means expansion, celebration, feeling good, feeling successful. It's an expansive energy in general, and the Aquarian subtone is that new concept of reality, which the American nation is definitely already been primed for in many ways, as this is their lunar sign, one of the reasons for that for sure. So anyway, this is the first of 3 contacts, and this chart seems to be the initiator of the breakthrough weeks. I mean, I'm guessing it already gets started around the 8th of April, then steadily building up. This is an extremely powerful chart, particularly if we also look at the midpoints of this moment when Jupiter and the moon are conjunct with the American people's natal chart. You see that 0 degree Aquarius ascendant again. That supercharged degree where Jupiter and Saturn had their conjunction on winter solstice, as we know, which was that shift of the ages. So this is resonated again in this moment. The ascendant here, 13 degrees Aries. That's hexagram 21, biting through obstacles, bringing justice. Particularly, it's about criminal justice in that sense, according to the I Ching. And Pholus and Quavar here in midheaven together with Estrella. I talked about that in my last video. Pholus is always showing up when there's radical shifts, big changes. Quavar is new creation. It's interesting that these two are just falling short from an exact conjunction. They have just been turning here a few days ago. If we go back to the transits, you can see that's where we are right now. Yeah, they just turned retrograde, I guess, on the 1st of April, right? So Pholus shows up at big junctures when new directions are chosen, when all of a sudden, after a long inner struggle, you choose to do the right thing, go the right way. It's kind of that day you were thinking about it to drop smoking, and then one day comes and you're just doing it. That's a Pholus transit, most likely. So this is actually the energy of right now as I'm recording this. The moon changed into hexagram 38, which is the American nation's Earth sign. Earth, hexagram 38 is opposition. So we're just getting into that phase, and seemingly that revelation by Simon Park has been put out pretty much when this moon was activated a couple hours ago or so. So this moment when Jupiter will be conjunct the moon seems to be a first clear I would say breakthrough, at least for those who are in the know. The general public still will have to catch up on many ends naturally, even though big information will be put out. As we know, it will be going through the mills of deception and of changing the angles and the storylines and the narratives, turning everything, twisting things. I mean, this is the challenge we are in presently, that everyone has to find her own discernment, which is actually not a bad thing, because it demands us to think, it demands us to use our brains, which we have been given by God. So it's not a bad thing to having to go through that process of deciphering, decoding what is true, what is fake. It will catch many people by surprise, and finally they will be just presented to facts of such a magnitude they have no choice anymore. The beautiful thing here is that Venus-Uranus conjunction on that day, the 23rd, which shows the excitement, the new direction. Venus and Saturn and Uranus, that's kind of music, that's a great positive frequency, very similar to the Jupiter moon excitement. And Venus always is related to children, so it is kind of that liberation of children which is resonating here too. Chiron here at the ascendant. Chiron has been accentuated just a few days ago when it had its yearly conjunction with the Sun. Venus was there too. I mentioned that in my other video. It is that kind of Chiron energy of exposing and of bringing light into the situation, which will allow a natural organic process of healing to come in. The moon here again, as in many important moments, tunes into this Orcus-Nessus opposition, which is, Nessus is really the pathological energy we are dealing and exposing in this present time. Orcus, on one hand, is a ritual, so it is that energy of the dark satanic rituals, but it's also, Orcus is about transformation and alchemy. So the moon here with Orcus shows that there is an alchemical process right then and there. This is powerfully anchored, because what we're looking at here is a seed moment when Jupiter will be exactly on that lunar position, a seed moment which will set the stage for a few months. Now let's look at the midpoint chart here of this Jupiter conjunct the moon with the nation's birth chart, and I already showed you that 0 degrees Aquarius rising. 22 Scorpio, that is where Deucalion is. Deucalion is a very slow moving trans-Neptunian object which resonates with Noah's energy. Noah and Deucalion are similar characters. They had the foresight, they were given the information to prepare for a yet to come situation, something which would take many people by surprise. So it's kind of the building of a structure ahead of time, so it's ready when it's really needed. And this is here coming to the midheaven, very powerful indication that yes, many things are being done in the background which will prepare for a new timeline invisible to most people still. So why I'm so excited really is, I mean, this is just seemingly still the starting phase. We're still very much in the dark of what's going on in the greater sense. Now if we're jumping ahead to the second conjunction Jupiter will have with the nation's natal moon. So Jupiter has been going forward here into about 2 degrees Pisces and then starting to retreat again and coming back to that position by August 19. And what you see here, I mean, it's really obvious. This is unusual. Uranus exactly at the ascendant. So first of all, we have to be giving this process time. We might have a big breakthrough by the end of May, but I mean, naturally, this is such a huge shift we are in the middle of, which is really just getting started. This will take many months to come to a clear and stable place again. This Uranus indicates that really well. It will be a very turbulent summer. We are getting into many shifts, many unusual events, and it's kind of that anchoring, that grounding of this Uranian energy. Uranus is bringing in all these new energies and rooting them into Earth. Free energy is just one aspect of it. Tesla, in his birth chart, has Uranus in Taurus. That gave him that I mean, it's definitely one of the energies which helped him tremendously to harness energies, make them real, make them visible. I mean, he was so much ahead of the time. This is coming back in this 7-year period. As I predicted, this is between 2018 and 2025 when Uranus is transiting through Taurus. And it seems to be that we're absolutely on track here with this manifesting, getting real. In this second chart of Jupiter being exactly conjunct the nation's moon, well, what's really standing out here is that the Sun and Earth at this moment are pretty much in the same axis. This is actually the yearly Sun-Jupiter opposition, which is in that moment, which further totally amplifies this this lunar position of the nation. So it brings the American nation into the total spotlight collectively. I mean, as if it were not the case yet. Even more so. Pluto Moon conjunction here in the transit chart, and that is where the American nation's Pluto is. Pluto in many ways is representing the deep state and that struggle for reclaiming power. You see, if we go back here quickly, 2732, that is the American nation's Pluto. So that's where we are here in this August chart. It brings all that into the open, into the clear view, bring it out of the shadows. So I could say many more things about that chart. I really just want to focus on the most prominent alignments here and head on already into the third one. That will be then in December 13, 2021, when after Jupiter had gone back in Aquarius for quite many more months and then regained momentum forward and has its third exact conjunction at that place with the nation's moon. And look at that, that's the Washington midheaven midnight axis, the plumb line. It's where consciousness sits. Jupiter right here at the 4th house cusp. This is an extremely auspicious chart. And this is just one outstanding fractal here in this cosmic mandala, which an astrological chart really is. It shows you the energetic grid. Jupiter here at the 4th house cusp is really saying this is a new beginning, a new birth, and we have come out on the other side of that process by that time. Naturally, it will not be yet everything as it should be in the detail, but it is a promise that everything will work out perfectly. This again is a seed moment which will be actually not happening again, that Jupiter will be connecting directly with the nation's moon for another 12 years. So in a way, this is a beginning of a 12-year phase here we are seeing. So this just loops back once more to the chart of the 8th of April, which I have mentioned as likely when things really start shaking and shifting in big ways. So be prepared. It might get really wild by the 23rd, when Jupiter will be exactly conjunct the moon. We already will have a much clearer picture, and then getting into May, then things will go very fast, very momentous. So it's an organic process. We're just about getting into the very deep waters of transformation. By May 19, that is when we then move on into the next 52 segment, according to the Mayan calendar, the yellow southern castle of expansion that comes after transformation, when things are settled and now they are being reinforced and expanded. That will be then the phase of stabilization of the new energies. This is the core phase we are in. I cannot really emphasize that enough. This is the meat and the potatoes we're getting into. So enjoy the ride, hold the ground, be patient. It's all working out. It's already a fact. It just has to become manifest still. And just keep doing what you're good at and lean back, enjoy the ride, and be in your heart and send out that good frequency. Help other people to find their truth and break free from deception and all that dark stuff which tries to get entangled into the people's psyches. Thanks for joining and listening, and talk to you soon.